morning, everybody, and welcome back to Safari Mack Explores North America. I'm Safari Mack, your guide and host, helping you make connections to the wild. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we enjoyed our time with running with the wolves and howling at the moon, but it's time to leave the pack behind and head out to the grassland areas, or very sandy and more ash-like soil areas, to look for an underground dweller of Yellowstone National Park. Today, we uncover the life of the American badger, otherwise known as Taxidia taxus by its Latin name. Now, before we begin though, as always, hit that like and subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more content of my series as well as other mini-series I have planned for the future. Check out my Facebook page so that you can not only hear about on conservation news, but also special tips that you can use to practice conserving wildlife, maybe in your own backyard or even making backyard habitats. Finally, if you have questions or if there is an animal that you would like me to do in the future, all you have to do is send me an email, which you'll find the link to in the description below. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's begin. So let's start off with their family and evolution. Now, if you may recall from one of my previous episodes, the river otter, when we were in the state of Virginia, they along with the badger, are members of the Mustelidae family, which includes weasels, mongoose, ferrets, and of course otters, as well as of course our subject today, the American badgers. But now, what ties the badger to this family? It's mostly because weasels, never mind the otter for a minute, but the weasel, mongoose, ferrets, they're underground burrowers, and so are badgers. But another major important detail, their body plan. As you can see, they have short stubby legs, they have a round body, and they live a constant somewhat of an underground life. Now, the earliest ancestors, like my friend here with the skeleton, their ancestors of the Mustelidae family were thought to have appeared roughly around 40 million years ago, at the same time as the Rodentia family began to rise and take their place in Earth's ecosystems. Now, of course though, today the world recognizes 17 different species of badger, which includes our American badger, the famous YouTube sensation honey badger, or ray-tails as they're often called sometimes, and the European badger, which is the largest species of badger currently living. Now, let's go on with their habitat and their lifestyle. Here in North America, you can see that badgers are absent from the eastern part of the country. Instead, you can find them in the central, more inland, so the central as well as part of the Pacific coast. But now, their habitats are very different with that of its European cousin. See, its European cousin prefers to hang out in mixed woodlands, pasturelands, scrubs, and also the famous Mediterranean mucky scrubland. Now, American badgers though are completely different. They don't want to be they would prefer not to be in woodlands, but they would prefer to be out in this kind of a area, which is basically like agricultural land, desert, dry forest, and parkland, as well as some spots of agricultural. Now here in Yellowstone National Park, you can see right here with this arrow, Lamar Valley is one of the prime spots where you would find badgers constantly digging around and looking for prey. But really, you would only be able to see these guys out at night, since really they are just nocturnal. Now, the badger lives a complete solitary lifestyle, digging underground and eating and taking advantage of carrion when it presents itself. For a little fun fact, there was actually a picture of a badger trying to bury a dead cow. So, hey, a nice big meal. That'd be a good find. Now, they live a complete solitary lifestyle where their digging also helps other animals that live in the area. For you see, one of the principal elements of their habitat is that the soil has to be soft enough to dig in, but strong enough to hold up their dens, as well as support other burrowing animals that act as prey for the badger, like, let's say, ground squirrels. Now, here, these, like I said, they're solitary, but they will come together once a year, either during the summer or early fall to breed. And then the female will give birth, usually gives birth after a pregnancy of 6 weeks. She'll give birth from anywhere to one pup to at least five babies. But now there's something really crazy about the badger that I'd like to share. Now you may have just noticed that I just said summer and early fall and 6 weeks, right? Now it seems like, wait a minute, they'd be born pretty unusually quick, right? Well, believe it or not, they actually will give birth. They'll give birth in the winter, but there's a very special process that they have. There's a thing called delayed implantation. So what I mean is, mom will breed with the male badger, but she may not allow herself to fully become pregnant until conditions are much more improved to where she knows she can support her offspring. So she could give, let's say for instance, she mated probably back in July, right? So 6 weeks later, it would be September. Instead, due to delaying the process of embryo development, she may give birth 6 to 7 months later. So she could give birth maybe in, let's say if it was May, she could give birth in December, or if it was August, she'll give birth probably in February during the peak of winter. So think about that one for a minute. Now let's talk about their diet. So as they are carnivores, they eat a variety of smaller animals, which includes pocket gophers, ground squirrels, moles, marmots, and wood rats and prairie dogs. But they've also been known to eat insects as well as snakes when opportunity presents itself. And as I said before, they are also known to be excellent carrion eaters. So if there is a huge dead animal, they will take advantage and eat as much as possible because they don't know when the next meal is going to come. So basically, we want to make sure that let's give our guys a big thanks and round of applause for eating the carrion, because if it wasn't for them, so many dead animals would actually ultimately spread much disease. So they really are the cleanup crews of Yellowstone. Finally, I'd like to end, it's a little early today, but I'd like to end today's episode with their influence in human culture. Now, due to their underground lifestyle and smaller size, may seem like they haven't made much of an impact, but Native Americans really do think otherwise. So in Arizona of the Hopi tribe, they as well as the Zuni tribe of New Mexico, they see these animals as directional guardians and the protectors of the South. They consider it to be a fierce, tenacious animal that uses its personality traits as well as its physical strength to overcome larger enemies. It's also been viewed to being bold, passionate, and persistent, while its knowledge of the earth is noteworthy, or I guess this is a creature that is worldly wise. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all the time I have for today. I know we ended it a little early, but now I would like to talk to you all for a second. I, Safari Mack, am in need of your help. So, as you may remember, when we started our journey in Yellowstone, I said that we would uncover the bison, the wolf, the badger, which we are doing now, and then in a couple weeks we will finish up with a bear species. But now I want to know I want to know something. Do you want me to do one more animal in Yellowstone National Park, or should we move on to the next habitat? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, as well as you can place your vote on a little poll that I'll post today at 12 o'clock. I hope to see your results and to hear from you all soon. But as I said, I'm all out of time for today. So until next week, this is Safari Mack, and I'll see you all out there.